Welcome back to another episode of Gymboss Rebirth podcast. We have in the building Kirk.
Hey.
GhettoKirk.
Walk on, people, walk on.
All right, so many people don't know me and Kirk go way back. Actually, when I started the fitness brand that I had up by UA, it started very simple and basic. So I started by getting Marina. And guess who for shop? We used to shop and get the Marina from? Kirk.
Yes.
All right. So Kirk, how it's been?
It's all right. Been a long time.
All right, for real. So how has it been support since the whole explosion on TikTok? People know that you're outgoing, people know that you are Jamaican, but everybody seems to be confused since your exposure.
Yeah, the thing with that is people like to put people in a box, right? So you are Jamaican if you look like this, if you talk like this. They like to fit them in boxes in their brains to make them fit properly or, more comfortably. So when I break the stereotype of talking like a Jamaican and I chat the Raba and Patois, people get confused.
So to you, what's your idea for Jamaican basically?
Anybody who has Jamaican citizenship who also embraces the culture.
You have all of that, right?
All of that.
All right, cool. So how long you been here?
I've been here since I was 3 years old.
I'll be able to see what I talk about the name because the actual name is not Kirk.
No.
What's the real name?
Jiazang.
Jiazan. All right. So how you come by Kirk though? Was that given to you or you chose that?
I chose that when I was 3 years old. So the story is my dad's boss basically said, all right, we're going to give you an English name to help you fit in, make it easier for the teachers to pronounce your name and all of that stuff.
For you to communicate with people.
Yeah, right. So they wrote down on a piece of paper 5 different names. Stephen, Richard, Peter, Andrew,
Brown
Kirk.
man. On to Brown. I choose Kirk.
And I chose Kirk. I was like, this is the easiest to remember. The shortest one on the paper. All right, Kirk. Cool. Give me that.
All right, see there, and it worked. So the family, mommy finally accept what you do on TikTok?
Mommy all right with it. She just tell me if I stop cuss off people so much.
So you literally start a beef since you come on TikTok. What's most of the comments about for the one them that you don't understand their craft and stuff?
So the most recent one would be the taxi strike, right? So a lot of people were saying things like, don't talk because you're not a real Jamaican, and don't talk because...
They were telling you not to participate in the conversation because you're not Jamaican.
Yeah.
And what you say? What was the TikTok about, the strike?
Well, what I said was basically I didn't agree with the strike, right? And even though I never agreed with the strike, if they had striked peacefully, that would have been okay. But the biggest problem that I had with the strike was they were pulling passengers out of other taximen's cars that didn't agree with the strike. The taximen that wanted to work couldn't work in peace.
You were talking about the viral clip from the gentleman that pulled out the car?
With the big board in his hand.
Oh.
Come out of this!
The people that say him in your space now, my viral, my get booking and stuff. So that's how the social media world go. It's very crazy. One negative can be a positive to somebody else.
Yeah.
All right, so otherwise than that now, because mommy want to make sure say Kirk stay out of trouble, which him always do. Yeah, you're getting a backlash from people talking about, you're going into music, you're going into movie production and all of that. They're saying like there were other Jamaicans there before. Why all of a sudden he's getting all these gigs?
I got that from the TVJ interview. Right, a lot of people had a problem with me getting an interview with Smile Jamaica, and they didn't understand why me and not like other Jamaican creators.
Right, because they were saying like other people is out there before, other people been on the scene before.
Yeah.
What's so different? What's so special?
Exactly, right? So a lot of people didn't understand, but what they also didn't understand is I was not the first creator to get an interview with Smile Jamaica.
Yeah, I've been on Small Jamaica, my own cleaning business as well. So it's not really that difficult to go on. I think it's more when you're contributing something to the country or you blow up in certain different way. I think with you though, what was really interesting is that people have this perception that looking Chinese or looking any other nation than the typical feature of a Jamaican
Yeah.
kind of not make you a Jamaican until proven.
In a sense, yeah.
So basically they're saying you're interesting, but most person who know you from a long while would know that this is Kirk. This is how Kirk has been.
Pretty much,
So
yeah.
I guess that's the reason. But behind that though, you really have a good talent in telling stories, right? You have always had that talent, like in high school with English and stuff like that.
No, that's the thing. I actually failed English because my story writing was poor. Yeah, I failed English the first time around, and when I redid it, I actually put my mind to it and said, all right, you know what? Let me just learn this story writing thing.
This is which level in school? Oh?
CXE.
CXE.
Yeah, so I failed English.
Cause you're bright. You're like 90s in all other subjects and stuff.
In my, what was it? The GSAT? Yeah, I'm not sure if it's still called GSAT nowadays. Yeah, GSAT.
Probably, yeah.
GSAT, I got all 90s, right? Even in English. But then in high school, my English took a dip in terms of like grades, and I couldn't figure out why really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, it didn't click with me when I went to the high school level. So I kept failing English, and that became a trend where I failed my English CXE.
So which school was this though?
This was Meadowbrook High.
That was a choice of yours, or?
It was my third choice in high schools.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what was the first choice? With?
First choice was Campion, and then the second choice was Arden, and then Meadowbrook.
Oh, good school. I would say. So, all right, you're master the craft now. You're on the scene now. Is it been lucrative for you since the exposure and everything?
In terms of some opportunities, yes. For example, I got an acting role, a small little acting role in...
You have to start small. Don't ever use the word small. You got a role.
I got a role.
Book you.
Right, yeah. I got a role in a series that will be airing next year called Black Cake.
Black Cake?
Yes, Black Cake.
So what's the story behind that, though?
It's basically a story about a Chinese family that came to Jamaica in the 1800s and the struggles that they had to go through as a family, as a first generation immigrant family. And yeah.
So what character you play in that film? If you're not, just want to get a look at teaser.
I played the main character's father in a flashback.
Oh, so it's a literal series or it's a one-shot movie?
It's a series.
It's a series.
Yeah, with
All right,
many
so we can
episodes.
look out for that. What's the name of it?
Black Cake
Black Cake.
on Hulu.
On Hulu.
Yeah.
All right, cool. People that want to know basically love interests. You see yourself as a traditional man. Traditional to you might be different based on your culture. Your culture is Chinese, right? You think it's important to retain that cultural heritage and that ethnicity in terms of who you date, in terms of relationship, marriage, and all of that?
I don't really care, to be honest. I really don't care. As long as I click with the woman and, we both love each other and we can build a future together. As long as we're happy, I'm fine with that.
All right, what's her role in your life now? What you see, what role a woman can play in your life at your stage, or where you see yourself heading, basically?
In my stage, in terms of like, I don't know, I just want somebody who's, how do I describe this? Complementing to my life.
Complementing.
Right, because I'm a hardworking man, right? And I hold a lot of traditional values, meaning like I like to be the provider for my family.
Which is right, yeah.
I go out, I work, I come home. I'd like to have a nice wife who cooks dinner for me and all of that, because I love my belly,
So in that sense, should she be working also? Can she be working also?
She can be working, but I don't want her working too hard, right? Because if I'm making enough money for the both of us, why are I going to want my woman stress out herself?
Yeah, because... And that's very important because women naturally lose that femininity that you find with her when you just meet her. She have to take on certain type of responsibility. She become more
Society has
masculine and all of
pressured
that.
them into that, though. That's
Yeah.
what I feel. I feel like nowadays women, they want to be like the strong, independent woman.
You don't buy that?
No, I don't. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Yeah? Why?
Because essentially, if I'm already being the provider, right? As I said before, why I want my woman stress out herself?
All right. So for the thousands of people that watch your content, you're telling them that basically you are in the position to provide for yourself and your household. Should they one of that you believe in like more than one relationship, or you believe in more than one relationship, having like more than one partners?
Like polygamy? No. Not
One.
at all. One.
All right, cool. So she should just support you, be feminine, can complement your family culture, and everything is good.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
It's
Because,
healthy and beautiful also.
well, yeah, of course. But what I think most importantly is it's what works for me, right? Meaning like, if I'm able to provide for my woman and myself and future children and all of that, that doesn't mean that every man can do that as well, right? Sometimes a couple needs to work together, right, to contribute financially to take
Kirk,
care
I
of
know
the
nothing wrong
household.
with that. No, you can go to a different level when you're doing that. You can pull two sources of income,
Exactly.
3 sources of income, whatever it is.
So it comes down to the couple dynamics, right? So if the woman needs to help out to contribute to the household, then yeah, go work.
But it fall back to what you say about traditional value, because that's a part of your heritage, right? Your family, what type of cultural heritage was instilled in you growing up?
Growing up,
You say, because you've been in Jamaica for how long?
31 years.
31 years. So you would say you still have a cultural side to China or more?
Half
Here.
and half.
Half and half?
Yeah, culturally, I think I'm split down the middle between China's values and Jamaica's values,
All right. You
or
could,
Western values per se.
Western values.
Yeah, that
All right.
would be
If you could-
more accurate.
If you could share with us, 'cause it's a learning moment now. What are some of the values that the Asian community would have in terms of family and stuff like that?
One thing I see that's different between my family and like other families in the West specifically, there's a growing trend of erasing men as the head of the household.
Repeat that one.
Erasing men as the head of the household.
And that's more pretty. You observe that here in Jamaica or
Here in Jamaica and America as well, like in Western culture, I'm seeing like this war against men for some reason. That
the patriarch role in the family is being broken down, and you have strong, independent, feminine women now coming up and saying they can do it all by themselves and all
yeah,
that.
that's a contribution to it. But like for me, in my family, we, in terms of me, my sisters, and my mother, always saw my father as the head of the household, right? We all looked up to him and respected him and all of that stuff.
And how important was that to view your father as the head of the household? How is that important to you in terms of the respect, the dynamic in terms of the respect and the roles in the family? Everybody knows to do them thing. His role is not being challenged by your wife, and you guys are
Not really, not challenged. It's more like at the end of the day, he gets to have the last say in most things.
because it means the family well. So
Right, he does. He's the leader of the family, right? And being the leader, you have the responsibility to take care of everybody, right? So that's a heavy burden to carry. That's the first thing. And being that he's competent enough to do it, my mom and us as children were confident in his abilities, right? Not to say mom didn't play a big role. Mom did play a huge role, especially in business, right? My mom was the head of the business, in a sense.
Yeah, your mom's a nice lady.
Right? She is very hardworking. I'd say more hardworking than my dad, to be honest. You
Yeah?
know? Yeah. But at the end of the day, when they needed to make a business decision together, for example,
together.
they did it together, and mom would say one thing, if dad said another, then mom would take into consideration what dad is saying, dad would take into consideration what mom is saying. At the end of the day, dad gave the last say,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, so they still have a discussion, but at the end of the day, he still sign it off.
Yeah. If, for example, they did not like certain things, for example, right? Mom had her say in a lot of things as well, but dad agreed.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that makes sense to me. You know,
it was
until-
just how the dynamics worked between them.
You think their concern would be that if you speak to a Western woman that don't have certain type of value that is more linked to traditional household value in the Asian community, that type of dynamic for your relationship would be a threat if you should speak to a Western woman.
It depends. If we're able to compromise with each other, then I'm fine with that, right? So if she's able to compromise to my demands and I'm able to compromise to her demands, and we can see us growing together, that's the most important thing to me. We have to be able to grow together, right? I don't want us to be fighting each other and breaking each other down for any reason at all.
I mean, disagreement, you're going to have disagreement,
have
but not
disagreements.
to tear down each other, basically.
No, definitely not. The point of argument is to come to a middle ground with each other.
Right.
That's what I believe, right? If you move from a constructive argument to breaking down your partner and insulting them or whatever, that's just childish.
So you have experience in the dating market regarding that to keep your focus for that goal, that family goal. You have experience in dating Jamaican women or
Yes.
other different type of women.
I have.
What has it been like? The good and the
I've
bad.
dated Jamaican women many times actually, and it's been okay. It's been okay. You know, there's good people, there's bad people,
Yeah, naturally.
right? So I wouldn't say there's any specific things that are bad or good about an experience.
So one of them wasn't able to hold it down, basically. I mean, hold it down. Like,
No, I'm not married
you look
yet.
like you want. Yeah, she's the right girl. She had the right value. It's time to have a family and stuff.
No,
like that.
not as yet.
Not as
Because
yet.
here's the thing. I wasn't ready for marriage in a long time, right? So until probably recently, I've never thought about myself getting married until I was able to support myself, my family, and, possible children.
What I find listening to your conversation basically is that it wasn't more of a religious belief, it's more of a traditional belief in terms of marriage and finding the right partner.
Yes.
I mean, in the Christian world, marriage is more of a religious belief, to believe that you should marry first, find the right partner, have a family. But it's more of a tradition to you that, because you're saying that you're literally looking for that partner that can complement you and grow with you.
Yes.
Marriage is the ultimate way to achieve
Yes. That is the ultimate goal,
that. Yeah.
really. Because eventually I'd like to have my own family. I'd like to have children. I'd like to be a father and all of that, right? And I believe in doing it the right way in terms of I want to get married first and then have children after,
Yeah.
right? Because I don't want to have children outside of wedlock.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, man, let me tell you the truth. Marriage is being under attack, but as I say, with the right partner that can complement you, anything is possible. Anything is possible. Fighting, you're Chinese, half Jamaican, wherever they call it. Can you fight?
Yeah, I'm a black belt in Taekwondo.
Taekwondo. You learned that here.
Yes.
All right, cool. What about UFC? You
I watch
have
it.
any-
Yeah. And I train in a MMA gym as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How often you train? Like you just show up one day and say, "Can beat someone."
I train, well, before my hand injury, I trained from Mondays to Fridays, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I enjoy learning about the sport. I enjoy learning the art. It's challenging. It's fulfilling, right? Learning a new skill, getting better, all of that.
So, would the person say you're an outgoing person? You do party, or you spend your day, your type of lifestyle? Basically?
Not at all. I'm very reserved because I don't really go out. Right? That's one thing. I don't really go out. I go to work. From work, I go to the gym. From gym, I go home and then repeat. That's basically my life.
How important to have that type of pattern you have seen help you to achieve certain things that you have achieved?
It's okay. It's a routine, and
You don't get bored of it or nothing like that?
the human brain likes routine.
Yeah.
As long as I'm learning new things in that routine, I'm fine, right? So, for example, at the gym where I'm learning mixed martial arts, I'm learning new things every time I go, right? Which is a great
You
challenge.
can pick up the gym. You can. What's the name of the gym?
The name of the gym is Ruthless Sports Academy,
Where's that?
right? That's at Dennis Avenue, right? So you can look for them on Instagram. It's Ruthless JA. I think it's Ruthless JA. I can confirm that.
All right,
after.
cool. All right, cool. So, sports, you're at a fighting, physical contact sports. So you can take a hit then.
I've been taking a lot of hits from my partners. Yes, my training partners don't. We hit each other from time to time because you have to spar, right? You have to practice what you drill, right? Put into action, all right, how do I do this in the ring? How do I stop this opponent from moving so much? How do I execute my attack and all of that stuff?
So how you translate that to your to the business world? Because somebody would say like, your store is in Spanish Town, right? Spanish Town is a big space, but most persons would attribute to certain type of activity, violence and stuff like that. Are you feel comfortable where you're at?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine where I am. I don't get into any trouble, so I try to stay as far from it as possible.
And the attention doesn't affect the flow of a business.
No, it doesn't. What's interesting is a lot of my customers are realizing who I am from social media. So when they come in my store, they're like, "Oh, I GhettoKirk, what on?" And then some who basically knew me from before TikTok, they still come and treat me normally and stuff like that.
Yeah. What I find interesting, there was a young child that you normally have on your video sometime. Who is she to you?
Oh, the little girl. Her name is Camille. So she is one of the vendors who sell outside my store, her daughter.
Yeah, because the bond, I mean, I'm just looking out, looking in, and the bond I saw between two of you is like somebody like really close, like a family or something.
Yeah,
Like
I call her my part-time daughter.
that.
Yeah, I call her my part-time daughter because she always comes into my store and buys her stuff like juice and biscuits by herself, and she's super smart.
Yeah.
Right? She's super smart, but she's very mischievous.
It turns over.
Very mischievous. So, for example, I would try to teach her things from time to time. So one day she learned her colors, which was one of my viral videos as well, right? She just learned her colors, and I was asking her, what color is this? What color is this? What color is this? She get everything correct. And then I said, all right, let me just turn on the video, make the world see how smart you
she
are.
is.
Right?
And she did.
And then she did the complete opposite. The little girl get everything wrong on purpose.
She's smart.
Give trouble.
Conceal her most powerful gift, which is knowledge. She's smart. She get trouble. All right, so basically, you're living like a regular Jamaican. Live good, focus on business, have your goal orientated in terms of what you want in life. You're a balanced person. So would that clear up the misconception that you are a Jamaican?
I've been seeing myself as a Jamaican for a long, long time now.
Yeah.
So I don't really see any separation between myself and other Jamaicans who are, darker skin or whatever, right? We all grew and live here, right? I came here when I was 3 years old. It's been over 30 years since I've been here. I've been immersed in the culture, in the country. I'm pretty much as Jamaican as anybody else who lives here.
All right, guys. Argument closed. No longer you have to worry about is he Jamaican, why is he getting so much attention. He's just another creator that's doing his thing and people gravitate to it, basically. Right? Kirk, in terms of international news, you follow up on what's happening in Trump, Joe Biden. You think that affect you any way, shape or form?
I watched the debates and I watched the, what do you call them, politics that's happening in America for entertainment purposes, and to think about the values that America has been pushing recently, and I'm not
The
for
left
it.
and the right.
The battle between the left and the right, right? It's some things I agree with and some things I don't, right? For example, the war, the gender war that they're having, or the whole.
The gender war is a war within itself, actually. Because you know you have like all different type of binary groups
That's the thing.
and stuff like that. You think that would up trickle down in local
I don't think it
Caribbean?
reached Jamaica as yet, but you know the saying, if America sneeze, we catch flu. I don't want it to come to Jamaica.
Yeah, that's why it's important. That's why I think your parents is very cautious about the type of partner you choose in your life, you know, because certain type of values and certain type of principle that is stick together in your best interest. So you see yourself basically traveling and living anywhere else outside of Jamaica?
Yeah, I ideally want to, let's say, work in the States, right? Because it's very difficult in Jamaica at the moment, economically, right?
Even for you?
Even for me, it's difficult because I see myself, if I was in America, I think I'd make a lot more money than out here.
Based on what you're doing or
Well,
what,
based on the
what factor?
opportunities over there, right? America, even though globally right now, it's
Oh, it's
sad.
It's sad, but still within itself, you feel like
Ever since COVID, the economy, the global economy has just been going downwards, right, for everybody. But Jamaica is at the point where it's like, oh, it's a big struggle for everybody here.
you think you're the one should say that?
Yeah.
Because people might look at it and say
No,
like,
because
you
here's
don't
the thing,
share
it
their-
affects everybody. It affects everybody. Because if you look at the Jamaican economy right now, some of our biggest incomes are, for example, tourism, remittances, and so forth, right?
Or you say that they will have no direct relation to what you're doing.
No, what I'm saying is we as a country need to produce more, right? That's the first thing.
I agree with that.
We need to produce more to be able to prop up our economy, right? And once we start producing more, then we can be competitive globally, right? But there are so many challenges to production, right? For example, electricity costs is one of the biggest reasons why Jamaica hasn't developed into like a big producing country, right? So for example, the factories out here, their electricity bills are ridiculous. And compared to like other Caribbean countries or other places in the world, it's very hard for us to compete with their prices per se. Let's take Trinidad for example. So if Trinidad is producing a product and Jamaica is producing that same product, because Trinidad pays less for electricity, their prices will be more competitive than ours. So how can we compete globally if we can't get the cost of production down?
You know, I always say that Jamaicans, we basically spend in US, but we earn in Jamaican. If that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
You
Yes, it
understand?
does.
Yeah, so everybody can relate to that production cost and, you know, to wage and all that thing like that. More can be done, especially the money, all of the money that we are being donated and, you know, spending in the economy. I think more can be done relating to that. All right, so there's always opportunity in beyond the shores of Jamaica, obviously. So you face that as well. All right. In terms of what's happening in the country right now, any major thing that worries you in particular?
Right now, not really. Besides the economy, no, not really. Yeah, the economy is the biggest issue that I have with Jamaica right now because business has been trending downwards ever since COVID. And that's not to say...
How has COVID affect you?
Well, sales has gone down. That's the first thing because people are making less money, so they're spending less. All right. So sales has gone down, and then of course at the start of COVID we had lockdown, so that closed business for a few days and stuff like that.
Yeah, because all that crushed the economy, crushed the business owner, the small man, them COVID itself, the lockdown, everything crushed the economy.
Yep.
So you think that there should have been some stimulus to business owners to cushion all of that?
That's complicated. I'm not sure how much the Jamaican government can afford to stimulate the economy for like business owners and for the people as well. They did something where they gave out some money to...
You receive that?
No, not me. Like to the locals, in terms of like the people who weren't working or so, I think. I don't remember what the program was called, but I remember people getting money.
Care package, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, not care package, like actual money. I forget what it's called. It was a few months ago, or was it last year? Last year, I think.
So that's one of your worrying factor, the economy and all of that.
The economy.
All right, not a problem. The music scene is back on. Anybody try to book you for like production, you know?
Well, I've been
shout out
featured
for
in a
music?
music video recently.
Yeah, we saw that one. How that come about? It was really good, by the way, for the short clip you see.
It's a really catchy song.
What was some of the feedback you're hearing so far?
Zendaman is the artist. He's a Japanese dance hall artist. Very young guy. Very talented as well. And he just messaged me on Instagram and asked if I was interested in being a part of his music video. And he wanted to use my store as the location. So we'd shoot at my store and they edit it and all of that stuff. And then they shipped it out. And it's been doing well.
So he has music before, or?
Yeah, he has made music
So
before.
what's his aim though? To break through in Jamaica in terms of
I'm not sure what his aim is, but he's doing the song that he did is like a trap dancehall kind of vibe. I'm not sure if that's the direction he's pushing towards, but I don't know. We just have to wait and find out, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's really good to me. You played a character in it, or
Yes.
a bad Chinese.
Pretty much. So the character I played in it was basically me being a wholesaler and him being like a secret chopper man. Right, and then what happened in the video was I catch him chopping the line and him
Oh, you chop the line
in the shop, yes, in the shop. And then I say, yo, money now make for me in the shop, you know, so let me see what this chopping thing is about.
Oh,
and
so
then,
you start chop the line too?
yes, that's what happened in the music video.
Okay. So that's a real phenomenon for some people. That's how them they will promote it, they will encourage it. But that's what's happening and thing. What's your thought on that? I mean, most of the time when people pushing out music, it's more of they showing the more materialistic side of what they can achieve and all of that. That's just reality to you, or it's just an angle for get noticed?
Well, the thing is, music artists are always going to make music about their environment, right? What they see, what they experience, and all of that stuff. So right now, what music is doing in Jamaica is just expressing what they're seeing in the environment, right? It's not a good thing that they're seeing, because at the end of the day, it's scamming people, ruining other people's lives and stuff like that. But it's just the reality of the situation that the people are in.
All right. How would I encourage a young person, fresh out of high school, they have the opportunity to go to sixth form or university? What type of business road they should take?
Well, before we get to the business part, I think students, especially the younger ones, need to focus on school in terms of like developing their mind, right? I think that's very important. It's good that you're getting good grades and stuff like that, right? It's awesome. But at the end of the day, some of the stuff that you learn in school, you're not going to use, right? You're not going to use, but that doesn't mean it's not important. For example, in maths, when you're learning algebra and you're learning how to find x and solve this equation and all that stuff, most of that stuff you're not going to use in real life. You're really not. But guess what? What that does is actually trains your mind logically, right? It teaches you how to think. And that is paramount. That is very important.
That's business 101, solving problems.
Solving problems, right? You might not find X, but at least you know
So
how to.
when should they focus on the money? Because money is a means to sustain itself and all of that.
When they're done, when they're
When
done
they're
with
done.
school, right?
But we are always learning.
Always learning, always learning. That is very important as well. So, for the first question, what you asked is like, what would they do out of school? I think learning a skill is very important. So, for example, if you don't have an interest in academics, right, like going on to university and all of that stuff, learn a skill that can make you some money. Learn how to be a plumber, learn how to be an electrician, a mechanic. All those jobs are still needed today.
Yeah, it's very important to market yourself with skills, needed skills, just like I mentioned, because you don't have to think about Jamaica. There's a global market that requires those
Yes.
skills. Sometimes you might be limited because you say you don't have the visa, you don't have access to those countries. But once you learn the skill, you definitely tell yourself that you want to go somewhere else and do it, you'll find a way out to do it. But you need the skill. Don't just see yourself as a regular person. If you migrate or go overseas, you're going to do the basic job because you're still going to find it hard to survive when you're in that environment. So having a good, competent skill, just like him said, his father was very competent to lead his household. Take you far away.
Right, learning a skill is important. Right, if you don't have any skills, then learn a trade.
Yeah, the basic, or have a career.
Right, but most careers nowadays require a degree, so that's that's another thing. Right, so if you want to be accountant or a doctor or a lawyer, you're going to need a degree. Right, not everybody can afford to go to university. That's one thing.
But I mean, there's the internet. The internet kind of give you some person. Not everybody will escape doing all of the traditional part, but the internet is a gateway to reach the world without those type of prerequisites. Would you say?
Yes, but there's qualifications as well, right? Because you wouldn't go to a surgeon to get heart surgery if they just learned a course
No,
on the
we're
internet.
all about education and school. We promote that. People need that because most of the time, when you really have a conversation with people, you say how important education is because it does affect how you behave and how you appreciate and see things around you. So education is good. What we're trying to say is that there's different paths that you can also attach with you. It's like a pack in a suitcase. You have the major suitcase, but you have some little accessory you bring with you. Having education and having the appetite to learn is very good, but you must be competent in other areas as well as you mentioned, right?
That's true, and that comes from like learning. That comes from learning, right? You can read books that aren't related to school.
Yeah.
You can read. You can go on the internet, look up an article, right? Listen to a podcast, stuff like that, right? Constructive things, right? I always say learn something constructive.
So what you listen to, since you mentioned like podcasts, otherwise on the Rebirth podcast, what are some of the podcasts you listen to?
Jordan Peterson is one of my favorite podcasts, right? He is phenomenal.
What are some of the teachings that, kind of open your mindset? Because I listen to him as well and stuff. What are some of the teachings that, kind of change how you think or, give a clearer view of the world?
He's a highly logical person, right? And I respect that. I like how he breaks down a topic and
That was I just about
Yeah.
to say.
he dissects the topic and goes right into it. He is very direct in communicating as well, right? And he expresses himself so eloquently. It's amazing.
Yeah, for the ordinary person to understand and for the ordinary person to translate how them feel and how important it is because them teach you that you have to be dangerous. You have to be a monster. You're rather better to be a monster in the garden than a gardener at war.
Yes,
You
yes,
know?
yes, yes. It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war, definitely.
Right. So and then
So things like that I identify with.
yeah, because you mentioned that you do UFC, black belt, and then person that says, oh, it's just Kirk from TikTok. They get a shock of their life, they get a punch and knockout and stuff like that. So that's very important. it helps build your masculine trait as well, to take on type of responsibility you talk about, to be a leader and a provider and all of that. So how you find taking on things that people might find not necessary, how is that help shape you, your character?
What do you mean exactly?
Well, you just say like putting out 5 days a week to the UFC training, right?
The MMA training, yeah.
MMA training. Person that say you don't actually participate in a world title tournament or upon the main stage. What benefit is it to you?
It's my hobby, so it keeps me fit, keeps my mind active, right? And I love the sport, so maybe I won't be a professional competitor in the future because of my age or whatever, right? But at the same time, me learning it, there's possibility of me being a coach, right? And stuff like that. I just want to be a part of the art and the sport however I can.
Cool. Yeah, cool. So for your son, your future son, you're going to bestow him a Jamaican name, the same thing, 5 name, pick one, you know?
Probably not, no. I'll name my son. I'll name them myself. But he's definitely learning most of the values that I've attained over my years, you know? So
What are some of the values before, since we're on that you think were important?
well,
that
speaking
you-
about fighting, it's like learn to fight, but don't always push for the fight. But if the fight comes to you, you might
Be
not
ready.
start it,
Yeah,
but end it.
yeah, yeah. That ever happened to you in real life?
Like I said, I don't push violence. I don't. I'm not a very aggressive person or anything. I'm
No, you're not
very reserved.
aggressive,
Right.
Things come at you that
Yeah.
you don't even call for most of the time. You know what I'm saying? So look at you, you're on the internet just doing your thing and people are troll at you and you know saying comment and
You have to have a thick skin to the social media sometimes. So yeah, I get that. And most of the times is just words. So that's fine. I don't see it for anything else. If I get a bad comment, I delete it or block the person or whatever. That's okay, right? But if that stuff was to happen in person, then you have to be able to defend yourself and know what you're doing.
well, most of in real life, person don't come up to you like that. The more
No,
like talk
no.
behind the back and things. So it's cool.
Yeah, it's fine.
Cool. All right, cool. All right, so Kirk, for the future, 2023 is coming around. Same routine. We want tweak up a bit.
2023.
You think you can learn? You think you have all the package, you know, to push you beyond what you want to learn?
Well, firstly, I'd like my hand to heal up first. That's the first thing. The hand needs surgery. There-
it's a bit,
Yeah. So what happened is I broke my hand in my fight, and the metacarpal bone.
That's from like punching somebody or?
Yeah, I punched my opponent a bit too hard in the head, and it broke the bone.
So what about his head?
His head is fine. He has a very tough head made of steel. Well, yeah. They need to cut it open and take out the screw and the wires that were assisting it. Yeah. So what happened is the bone broke. Then the doctor straightened it back. Then put 2 wires to stabilize it and a screw to hold everything in place. And then next week they're going to cut the hand and take out the wires and the screws. And then it should be perfectly
Are you
fine.
still training?
No, I'm not training. I took a break because the hand can't manage. So I'll be back in a month or 2 after the surgery. And then I'll be back training.
Revenge.
I wouldn't say revenge.
Yeah, you watch yourself, man. I come back for you. Yeah. All right, cool. So that's how you go. You put yourself in the bottle, get some brews, you know, brush it off, come back again, and that's it.
It's all about all a part of the fight life, right? If you want to be a fighter, then this is stuff that you might have to deal with, right? You literally sign a contract before you enter the cage, right? You may suffer serious injury. You sign a contract, and it's like, all right, cool, I accept this. Let's go.
You know, someone asked me, like, they said they never see a Chinese woman being pregnant before. Is that a myth? Like,
Maybe they
yes,
don't
it just come to my mind.
They probably
like,
don't see it. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. They haven't seen enough Chinese people, maybe?
yeah.
Probably. Probably that's why. Because I don't see any reason for that at all. Because I've seen Chinese women that are pregnant. So I don't know. I don't know where that come from.
Other than the ones you know, or
Yeah, like around in Jamaica. I don't know where that myth came from.
What are some other myths you hear them say that you wonder where that come from?
That Chinese people look young all of a sudden, and then they get old.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I know a lady. They call her Miss Chin, right? Typical.
Typical, yeah.
Right. But trust me, she don't age, and her kids, I believe she have them probably in the back room. She probably had Bert pushing them out in the back because she's always at the store with her husband and stuff like that. But she's very supportive, but she has a temper. The woman, they always have a temper like that.
Sometimes,
they'll
yeah.
cuss.
My dad
The
has a
customer,
temper. My mom doesn't have a
not,
temper.
Not to their spouse, but to the customer, they'll tell them off.
Oh no, that's the bad one.
Yeah, well, Miss Chin was a gangster, trust me, OG and things. So she normally, the child told them, and then by the time I checked back around the community a few years ago, big kids, and they were all in the store helping mommy and all of that. That's a part of the tradition, right?
Yeah.
To know the business, be a part of the business, work in the business, and eventually give you a business to start.
Sometimes.
Sometimes?
So in my case, it wasn't like that.
What age you got your business?
Here's the thing. All right, so from the start, I would always get dragged to the store. All right, as a kid, I'd never get Saturdays at all. Every Saturday, I get dragged to the store and I work in the store to understand the business and all of that stuff, right? But eventually, I knew what was going on. I knew how to cash, and I knew how to pack the shelves, sell the customers, all that stuff, right? When to buy goods, all of that, right? How to get deals and that kind of stuff, right? You learn that growing up in the business. But then sometimes, for example, from my personal experience, I didn't get to take over my parents' business. What happened was my dad said he's going to help me start a business, right? This was in downtown as well, on West Queen Street. Right, that was my business at 17 years old. What Dad basically told me is, I am going to help you one time, and if you mess up, that's it. I'm done helping you.
So why did he say that? Was you the one encouraging him to help you start a business, or him just feel like you need to have a business?
What was happening at the time was because I wanted to be a pilot in my early days, but then there's a height requirement. I did not make that height requirement. So
How you feel about that though?
it's all right. I feel like they should have had adjustable seats.
You mash up a person's whole entire career or possibility
just because
to have
yes,
a
they're too
career.
short.
Yeah, I mean, you're in a plane. How does the height requirement? I don't understand. Probably can.
There's a height requirement for it because like the way they built the cockpit, you need to be a certain flight to operate it optimally. All right, long enough arms to reach this and all stuff.
And all of them
I think they should have made booster seats, or at least be able to shift the chair and all of that stuff, or But then they have those things in place for a reason, right? And I suspect it would have to be a good reason.
Right? All right, so Dad said to you that he'll be funding your startup.
Yeah. So basically, what he did was lend me the money to start my business, and I had to pay him back. Right?
You had to, because most Jamaican, that concept is not a reality in terms of lending and paying back.
No,
especially when it comes to family.
I had to pay my dad back. Like we had a little exercise book, and we'll keep track of how much times I pay him, and how much I pay him, and stuff like that. So he lent me the money, start my own business. I made profit, paid him back, and I owned the business from there. And then from there, I kept building up my business, right? Making profit, building the business bigger and bigger, and then it just went from there.
Yeah, kudos to Dad. And that's a part of what Dad should provide and, give you a foundation and things.
Yeah, it also drills fear into you.
Yeah?
It drills fear into you because if my dad literally said he's going to help me one time, and if you mess up, that's it. We're done with helping you. And you still have to pay him back even if you mess up.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure for a 17-year-old.
Yeah, but you didn't mess up though.
I didn't mess up.
Okay, you had the right.
I had the experience and everything.
Right experience, yeah.
Yeah. So that was okay. And the economy was good back then too.
Yeah.
Right? Back then the economy was...
Because I had a similar experience. My dad was a shop owner, a supermarket shop owner. Used to always go downtown, watch him buy the stuff and wait on him. And then was pop the store and all of that. So I had a similar experience. I learned a lot from then. It was different in terms of I didn't see myself own a store, but I always wanted to be a business owner. You understand? So that was interesting. But you learn a lot, even from that age. You actually get to spend time with the family, bond with your parents and all of that, and relate to the customer. It's like a conversation, but it's an exchange of goods, and you're receiving cash in.
And you're watching your parents operate, right? You see how they deal with people and all that kind of stuff as well, right? So you learn from that. You try to take the good and leave out the bad if you can, that kind of stuff.
You realize in most of the conversation it starts and try to end with mutual respect.
Yes, especially with business, because nobody wants to do business with somebody they don't like. So yeah.
So you learn that basic thing in real life. You understand? Mutual respect, and you just carry that along and push to a bigger level. All right, cool. So the store, because I also have experience in terms of we used to do haulage, back downtown, and sometimes we're delivering to one store and they can't accept too much goods. They just call Peter next door and we just put the goods over next door and all of that. That type of bonding in the Chinese community, it's very unique. And I don't think they were a family member. They just have that type of relationship. That if you drop like 20 crates of juice or whatever it is, they can expect to get back 20 crates. And think, you have that network setting up at Spanish Town?
No.
Or it's just your store?
In Spanish Town, Spanish Town is just me. I don't really know much other store owners in Spanish Town except for like one or two people. But yeah, I'll say we're acquaintances, friends. I don't really have like a close bond with other business people in that regard, right? But I have seen what you're talking about. I have seen two separate families help out each other when their stores are close together like that. Like, for example, if they had something to do, like an emergency or so, and then a delivery comes, the other family would take the goods and say, hey, we collected your goods for you.
And everything will
like
be
that.
accounted for. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. That's cool. All right. Anything you think your viewers, you don't want them to know about you that they don't, or?
I'm not sure. I'm pretty open with my viewers, especially on like my lives that I do for like Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that. So they always ask me questions, and then I always do my best to answer them. The only question that I refuse to answer is, am I single?
You're leaving that open.
I leave them to guess
wonder.
what they may. I don't disclose my relationship status, right? The only thing I answer is I'm not married and I don't have children.
Yeah.
Because I like to keep some part of my private life private. Right, you can get 90% of me, but the 10%, that's all mine.
That's her decision or your decision, though?
You see, you're trying to set me up now. But yeah, I just like to keep that side of me private, right? So if I'm ready to, like, let's say I have a girlfriend, if I'm ready to show her to the world maybe one day, then yeah, I'll do it, and they'll know then. But until then, that's a secret.
Yeah, man, you have to keep certain things a secret. All right, cool. So just remind the people then where they can find you and all of that.
All right, so on TikTok and Instagram, my name is GhettoKirk. That's at ghetto_kirk.
You're wearing a branded shirt. Is that a new
Yes.
merch line? That's a merch line?
No, not yet, but I'm thinking about it.
For your fans, community.
Yeah, I'm thinking about making like printed shirts and then just sell them or whatever. But for now, I'm just using them to like appear in videos.
All right, so it's TikTok, Instagram,
And YouTube.
and YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube is GhettoKirk. Just search GhettoKirk and you'll find me.
All right, so you'll realize that most of the guests that we have, they're really big into fitness and health. Empower you if you check out Fit University, fituniversity.org. You can get fitness tips, free workout program, meal plan, and you get personal training guide when you check out and click on the subscription link for that. So we'll have all of that detail for you. GhettoKirk, Kirk, interesting conversation. And we'll find another interesting guest to sit here and talk to on the next one. All right? Out.
Time protection.